Okay, now you should be hover over the microphone.
He should be unmuted. Marcus, you there?
Yes, I'm here, and I got a prompt message for me to unmute myself.
Okay, great. Gare, I have him unmuted.
Yeah, okay. Marcus's name and make him a presenter.
Okay, he's a presenter. I have my phone by the microphone here if you want to talk here.
Okay, so now how do I change this to the camera?
Hold on a second, Marcus.
Okay, sure.
Can
Okay.
you still hear me here?
Can I what?
Hold on a sec. Can you still hear me here? Marcus, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Gary called me and the internet's down at the hotel. So this is
Yeah.
Paul, and I'm trying to intervene here and get you up and running.
Okay. Yeah, he told me that.
Can you still hear me, Gary?
Yeah, I can hear Paul. So right click on Marcus's name in the on the attendee list. You click on the attendee list. And
He's up and running, Gary.
Okay, good. All right. I'm going to attempt to dial in from my phone. And if I do, go ahead and unmute me. The only thing is I'm not going to be able to see the students' questions or anything, you know?
Yeah, okay.
And then I'll have to have you shut it down when we're all done, you know? So, I mean, you don't have to stay online the whole time, but I would probably come back and check in because we'll try to wrap it around 8 o'clock or something, you know?
Okay.
So, but Paul, can you go ahead and just introduce, or hey, everybody, welcome. This is Paul.
Hey, you know what? I'm just going to hold the phone up here and we're going to try that, Gary. You can do it.
Let me know when it's time, when you're ready.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Gary. Did I lose you? There you go. Hang in there, everybody. This is Paul, Gary's head tech guy, and Gary's having issues with the internet at the hotel. So we are trying to get this up and running. Gary's going to try and get on here. He's going to dial in now. If he can't successfully get in, we'll just get this on the road here in a couple minutes. Is your audio okay, Marcus?
Yeah, my audio is fine. Can you see me? I managed to connect my camera though.
Yep, I can see you.
Okay, cool. Just let me know when we are live.
We're live now, okay, Marcus? I had to turn this on live to get your audio running.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm waiting to see if Gare actually gets logged in, and so I can give him audio. I don't know if it's going to happen. If you want to get started, we can, and Gary can chime in if he gets on.
Hey, Paul, if you can hear me, I'm in.
Okay, great. I can hear you, Gare.
Yep. Okay, now, I don't know if I'm unmuted on the webinar.
Let me
you
look
can
for
hear
you.
Hey, Marcus, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you fine. Loud and clear.
Okay. we should be okay then. So, so everybody, kind of an interesting night here. I had to ask Paul, our web guy, to get us up and running because the hotel I'm in had a lightning strike and the Wi-Fi, the internet is out completely. So thank goodness we're on. It's 7:03 and we can go and get rock and rolling. So without further ado, I want to take up a lot more time, guys. Marcus is the same presenter we had back in, I think, May, and he can talk to us about Airbnb, also about tax lien certificates. So Marcus, I'm not sure if tonight you're going to talk about Airbnb or which subject.
You pick me. It's your choice. Either or.
Let's do Airbnb. Yeah, let's do Airbnb.
Okay.
And then, so for everybody on, you know, we're still going to do this. We're still going to be recorded. You get the recording next day. I'm just not sure if Paul's going to be able to man the questions coming in on the question box. If Paul, if you can hear me, you can do that. Pass those on to Marcus at the intervals. And then for everyone on, please make sure you look for the recording the next day from Beverly, because it's going to have, you know, updates to the schedule, you know, information on updates to the systems and the training material, and everything else. We've got a big event coming up in New Jersey, 24th, 25th, and 26th. You're all invited. If you're a current active student, you get to go for free. So you've probably seen emails. Look for the emails from Beverly. It's at Short Hills, New Jersey. Beautiful, beautiful part of the state. It's away from the city. Yet it's only like 20 minutes from Newark, New Jersey, big major airport. So in any case, Paul, if you can hear me, just click on the question box so you can see students' questions coming in. And then Marcus, yep. So let's go ahead and take off, guys. I'll stay on the phone. I just won't be able to see anything, unfortunately. Okay, take it away, Marcus.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Gary, once again for this invitation. That's one thing that I love the most, is to be able to share with people, you know, my passion, which is real estate. So before we move on, I want to thank you guys very much for your time, and I want to make sure your time is worthwhile. I know, you know, time is money, and I guarantee you that you would not regret by logging in and watching this webinar. Okay. So since we're gonna spend some time together, it's okay if I share a little bit of my story with you guys. I'm pretty sure it's okay, right? Okay, cool. Since I have the control, the camera, the mic, I can say whatever I want, right? So my name is Marcus. I'm from Brazil, and although I'm Brazilian, my life wasn't always a carnival. So I migrated to the United States in 1998 in pursuit of the American dream, and I had all kinds of jobs, odd jobs that you probably imagine. And I early realized that there's three pillars to build wealth, right? So you gotta have your own business, you gotta invest in stocks and bonds, and also real estate. And I also realized that last month that I picked the right strategies, because last year, get this, over 700,000 new millionaires in US, and 75% became millionaire using real estate. So early on, I had my own business. A year and a half after I arrived in the United States with $100 in my pocket, I had my own restaurant with 12 employees. So since I work in my first pillar, I say, let me go for the second one. I like to think I'm not very smart with numbers. Once you watch this presentation, you're gonna think otherwise. But I was like, I'm gonna go for the real estate because I always love the real estate aspect of it. So I started doing real estate in 2000, like everybody else, right? So financing a property, renting, has someone to pay the mortgage. I have some cash flow. That's what we call like rich dad, poor dad kind of strategy. And tonight I'm gonna show you not the rich dad, poor dad strategy. I'm gonna show you the smart daddy strategy. Are you guys ready for it? I hope so. So, yep. Actually, I'm gonna show you, once we're done with this, how you can start making cash flow in 24 hours without owning a piece of property. Who's interested in that? And actually, you're gonna make more money than the guy who owns the property. So check this out, okay? So I started doing real estate, and by 2004, I have about 12 properties. A friend of mine gave me a book that talks about tax liens and tax deeds. Up to now, I'm an expert in tax liens and tax deeds. That's what I do the majority of my time. And at that time, when he gave me the book, I thought I already knew everything about real estate. And sometimes when you know a lot, or you think you know a lot, that puts you in a very delicate position, because it shuts your mind down and you're like, I don't need to learn anything else, especially, who's this guy with this funny accent, right? And I already knew everything, and I kept doing what I was doing. I took the book, throw the book in my office, and that book stood there for 5 years. By 2007, I had about 17 properties. You guys probably remember, if you're old enough and you've been doing real estate long enough, you remember what happened 2006, 2007, 2008. So I foreclosed in 16 properties. I was only able to salvage one of the properties, and I had to go back to drive a FedEx truck. I forgot to tell you, I've been driving a FedEx truck since 2000. Between 2000 and 2007, I was working behind the wheel driving a FedEx truck. Today, I have a different relationship with FedEx. Instead of delivering boxes, they bring checks to me every week. So I love it. Great company. And I think, in the footnote, that every weekend, every Christmas, we should have a FedEx guy and a UPS guy taking pictures with the kids, right? Because we make Christmas happen. But the guy with a red suit takes all the credit. So in 2000, I had to go back to drive a truck. I was already a millionaire. I had, retired from FedEx 6 months early to the bubble burst, and now I'm here driving a truck again. Moved to the only house I could salvage from this whole ordeal. And 2 weeks after moving to the house, the water heater went broke, and I remember up to this day taking a cold shower for about a month because I didn't have money to change the water heater, and I had a 14-month-old baby. So that took a toll on me, and I was like, I need to do something else. So I kept building my business as far as FedEx. And to make the long story short, around 2008, I was cleaning my office. So actually 5 years after the guy gave me the book, I clean my office more often than every 5 years, if you're wondering. And I found the book that talks about tax liens and tax deeds, and that book changed my life. The strategy changed my life. So now I have over 800 transactions under my belt. I teach tax liens and tax deeds in 4 different countries, 5 if you consider Texas. And I have shared, the stage with big names. And I just launched a book talking about tax liens and tax deeds. So if you are a Republican, Gary probably remember this old joke. This is your book, The Secret to 24% Return Guaranteed by Law. You can find that on Amazon. And if you are a Democrat, you can buy this book over here that says, "It is Mr. President, How a Brazilian Immigrant Went from a Truck Driver to a Millionaire in 4 years." Basically, it's the same book. That's the more marketing strategy that you can possibly find. Is the same book, different covers, okay? And you can find both of them on Amazon, right? I'm not either from the right or the left. I'm just catered for both of you guys, right? So that's my story about tax liens and tax deeds. So even though I did 800 transactions, my best transaction, I remember buying a property that's worth $1.5 million, and I paid $6,342.79. And utilizing tax liens and tax deeds, you can buy properties around the United States starting with $30. So if you guys are interested on it, we can come back and talk about that. So now Gary threw me a curveball and said, let's talk about Airbnb. No problem, let's do that. So although I was very successful, I am very successful when it comes to tax liens and tax deeds. That's what I do. That's where I get the majority of my deals, utilizing those 2 strategies. One day I was traveling, and I travel a lot. I stopped using hotels, and I started utilizing Airbnb. And since I have mastered the first pillar to build wealth, which is having your own business, the second pillar, real estate, I got that. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I began to study a little bit about stocks and bonds, options, and all that. So, and a friend of mine was a good friend of mine. He was explaining to me the principle behind, options, that you don't buy the stock, you rent the stock, and you make the money with the spread and with the time that you own the stock, and then you rent the stock, and so forth, so on. And I remember going back to my Airbnb. It was a horrible experience to begin with. I don't know if you guys ever stayed in an Airbnb. Some are pretty nice, and other ones not so great. It feels like they got everything that didn't match in their home couch from the side road and throw in this place and the renting to you, right? The cups doesn't match the place. The plates are not, you know, different sets, and it's a horrible experience. And I remember laying on the couch and remember the explanation about options, and I was like, I'm wondering if I can take the same principle that investors use in stock and transfer that and apply that into real estate. Because you have to agree, up to today, we were taught and we were programmed, and that's the only thing that we can see, that in order to make money from real estate, we need to own the damn thing, right? You need to own the asset. And I was like, I'm wondering if I can do anything different. And I remember having this bad experience in an Airbnb, and I decided to start to study a little bit the model, right? And I realized, it's like, what if instead of buying a property, signing a 30-year lease, I can apply this principle of options into the real estate, and I can rent the property long-term and make the spread short-term, providing a very nice experience. And that's the beginning of it. And this strategy is so brilliant and so simple at the same time that you might gonna doubt myself, right? And I'm challenging every single one of you guys to go to my website, marcusjacober.com, and under Airbnb the Boss, you're gonna see a video called Airbnb the Boss Challenge, where I built an Airbnb in 24 hours. Get this, 24 hours, I launched Airbnb, and 24 hours later, I had $3,300 worth of reservation, and took about 30 minutes to get the first reservation. So if you are starting in real estate, I think that's a wonderful, amazing strategy for you to start. It requires little money, and actually you're gonna tap into what's gonna be a $10 billion industry by 2021. Get this, last year Airbnb did $2 billion, and they're projecting to do $10 billion by 2021. And I'm guaranteed you want a piece of that, right? So up to now, we run about, I'll say I launched about 45 to 50 properties on Airbnb. We cash flow anywhere from $700 to $1,500 per unit cash flow after we pay everything. And the fun part is I don't own any property, right? So going back to the old Rockefeller principle that you can translate in different ways, and it's very applicable to what I do now. You should own nothing and control everything, right? So, and we are able to grow to up to 50 properties in 12 months, little bit, 13 months going now. Our goal by December is to have 100 properties, and by end of 2019, we're going to be running 300 properties with cash flow anywhere from $7 to $1,500, and you can do the math now. And we're not going to own any of the asset, right? And then you can challenge me and say, well, but I like to buy something and hold on to it, have someone paying the rent. 30 years from now, I have the assets. So I do that strategy as well with tax liens and tax deeds. But as far as the Airbnb, I mean, you can do as many math you want. You ever, even 30 years from now, gonna tap and you're gonna make more money than the strategy that I'm about to show you, simply because you make cash flow in the day one, and you can build properties as fast as you want it. And imagine the amount of work that would take for you to sign a lease and 50 different properties. How much down payment you gotta, not sign a lease, I'm sorry, to sign a mortgage up to 50 properties, and how much money you gotta put in and all that good stuff. And you can challenge me and say, oh, I can buy a multifamily, blah, blah, blah. That's a different animal, different strategy. But stay tuned and understand how simple this principle is, and how amazing it is. If you are an investor, and I don't care where you are, and you have a bunch of rental properties, and I would like to know you, and I would like to talk to you, because I would love to rent the properties from you. And I will show you by the end of this presentation why you want to rent your property to me instead of somebody else with 2 or 3 or 4 kids. Cool? All right, so basically, just in a footnote, Gary or whoever is running this, I can't see any questions or anything like that. I'm gonna wait for you guys to shout it out, okay? So basically, the Airbnb formula is very simple. Once we do this, you're gonna think like, why I didn't come up with that idea? And you see how simple it is. So basically, let's say I go in and I'm gonna use as apartment, for example. And let's say I go in and I rent this apartment. I'm gonna draw a house because I don't know how to draw an apartment. I'm not an artist. I'm a ex-FedEx driver that does real estate, right? So let's say you rent this apartment for $1,000 a month. Okay? Look, very simple. $1,000 a month. And let's say you have $200 worth of, so this is rent, right? And you have $200 worth of expenses like utilities and internet and all that stuff, right? So you have $250 as utilities, okay? So your total cost to run this unit is $1,250, right? Genius, very simple math. And that's long term. So the longer you can rent this apartment, the better it is because you can get better deal and all that. Some apartments or some properties we go and we lease it and we put, I keep looking at here, I gotta look at the camera here. So some properties we rent it and we usually go all the way to like 3 years lease because we wanna make sure we negotiate a discount. And the landlord love us, they don't want us to go anywhere, and I'll tell you why, okay? So $1,250 is your total cost for this unit. So you can rent this apartment, and if you do the right research, and I'm gonna show you what is the magical concept that you need to apply to pick the best location for your Airbnb, right? So you apply the magical principle that I'm gonna tell you in a minute, and you're gonna be able to rent this apartment for $99 a night, right? So $99 a night times 30, you're gonna make anywhere, just to round up numbers, okay? You're gonna make somewhere of, let's say $3,000. So you understand the mathematics, very simple. So that's how much you're gonna bring it in. That's your expenses. And now you're gonna let me know what is your cash flow. Let's say $1,750. So what if you make half of this? Still good? What if you make $700? What if you make $600? What if you make $500? Is that good or not? You don't own the asset. Usually, in order for you to launch this type of property over here, it's going to take an investment, right? So usually you have first month deposit and rent, depending which market are you getting the property, right? But typically, as far as furniture, if it's one bedroom apartment, it's going to take you anywhere from, I'll say $3,500 to $5,000, right? Depending what product are you going to put out there. So to me, it's a no-brainer, and I believe you guys are much smarter when it comes to numbers than I am. I have a $5,000 investment, and I have a cash flow, let's say $1,000 a month. What is my payoff? How long it's going to take for me to get my money back, right? And once you start building this, you know, you can rapidly like launching this like no tomorrow. Like we are now launching anywhere from 4 to 8 to 7 units every month, new Airbnb's listings, right? If you're starting in real estate, and that's why I love this strategy, right? If you're starting in real estate and you want to build, let's say you want to become financially free, and my idea of financially free is not you buying a Ferrari or buying a Louis Vuitton purse or all this fancy stuff. We all have a number, right? And 95% of Americans' number is less than $5,000 a month, right? 95% makes less than $5,000 a month. So in order for you to become financially free, all you have to do is have the same money going out, same money that's coming in, that's going out, right? So imagine, I don't know what's your number, Imagine that number in your head right now and divide that for about $700. And you're gonna see how many Airbnbs you need to launch in order to become financially free. So you're free, to me, you're already a millionaire because you have the most important asset in the world, which is time. And you can leverage that time to continue to apply this strategy and some other strategies. That's why I love about real estate. You have many, many, many different strategies. And to your path to become a millionaire or multimillionaire or whatever your goal is, right? So it's a very simple strategy. So maybe you'll be asking, Marcos, are you telling me that if I launch an Airbnb, you put $3,000 here, so that means you have almost like 100% occupancy? Close to that, and I'll tell you why, right? So just to put this into context, the hotels in the world, and I think hotels are in big trouble now. The hotels of the world, they operated in a high season at 78% occupancy rate, and in the low season, 68% occupancy rate. If you do exactly what I'm about to show you right now, I have no doubt, and we've been proving this concept over and over in every single property that we launch. We haven't lost money in every single one of them, that you're gonna get anywhere from from 95 to 97% occupancy, right? So that means you're gonna have 28, 29 days of 31 days, book it. And I have the track record to prove it to you. So basically, you're probably gonna ask yourself, okay, or ask me, okay, Marcos, I got it. It's a very simple math. I don't know why I haven't thought about this before, but and I'm gonna address about the landlord situation. You might gonna be asking yourself, okay, so what is the best place to put an Airbnb? Start thinking. If you're gonna put an Airbnb, what is the best place for you to launch a unit? And I'm gonna tell you a magic principle that we use to launch the Airbnb. And you're gonna understand why it's magical. And from now on, every time you're gonna eat a Whopper, you will remember me, right? So basically, in order for you to launch your Airbnb or pick the right location for you to launch your Airbnb, and we have systemized this in such a way that in order for you to manage, get this, in order for you to manage 20 units, 20 Airbnb units, it would take you 5 hours of your time per week. That's it, right? You don't need a management company. You don't need none of this stuff. Like, you can do it, and we can show you how to systemize it, right? So in order for you to pick the right location, you're gonna have to apply a principle that we call Burger King effect, right? So you're gonna do what we call Burger King effect, right? So what is the Burger King effect? So it's very simple and very brilliant at the same time. So let's pretend that this is an intersection, right? So we have an intersection. Did you ever notice, that every time there is a McDonald's in one side of the street, there's always a Burger King either on the other side of the street or maybe perhaps a half-mile down the road? You ever notice that? It's most likely the next time you're eating your Whopper, you look outside, you see the golden arches. It's very likely, okay? The reason why is because Burger King used what they call Burger King effect. And what it is like, as you know, McDonald's is not on a burger business, right? If you watch that movie, The Founder, I strongly suggest you to watch it. If you haven't watched it, I watch about 6 times, and every time I watch it, I learn a new principle. It's amazing, right? So McDonald's is not in a burger business, in a real estate business. So McDonald's is the largest real estate company in the world. And McDonald's spend a lot of money and a lot of research to pinpoint its location. Where are we gonna open a new McDonald's? So they put a lot of money, a lot of study to exactly put the location in there. And McDonald's outspent Burger King 5 times in advertisement and to bring traffic to its stores. So what Burger King does, waits for the McDonald's to do all the work, to do all the homework, to invest all the money, and goes right across the street or on half-mile, 1 mile radius most, and put its store there. So McDonald's get more foot traffic than Burger King, but guess who makes more money? If you said Burger King, you're right, right? Because Burger King doesn't have all the upfront investments. So now, come back. You're probably dreaming about the Big Mac right now. It's almost dinner time. Well, it's 6:28 here in Texas. Depending what part of the world you're in, so you're probably hungry by now. So come back here. If we talk about Airbnb, in our space, in our Airbnb space, who will be the McDonald's? Who do you think will be the McDonald's? The hotels, right? The hotels are the McDonald's. Simply because if you're gonna build a hotel, $5, $10 million, $15 million project, you better have some study behind it, right? You're not just gonna wake up one day and say, oh, I'm gonna put a hotel here and hope people will show up. So you do a study. And that's the reason why we have a lot of hotels next to each other. You notice that? You have a Hilton, you have La Quinta, and then you have Kendall Suites, and you have Sheraton. You have all the hotels around it because they all follow the same principle, the Burger King effect, right? Now, if you're gonna put a Airbnb and you want to make sure you have 98, 97, 98% occupancy, you're gonna look for the hotels. Where are the hotels? So that's the first clue you can get it where you're gonna put your Airbnb, right? So you look for the hotels. So let's say you're looking in a market that you don't know, you're not familiar with, right? And say, where am I gonna put Airbnb? So you're gonna look for the hotels. So once you look for the hotels, you're gonna look and you find a hotel. Let's say you find a hotel in this area. So you're gonna look in a 3 to 4 mile radius, 3 to 4 mile radius, and you can put your Airbnb in there. You can bank on it, like you can launch your Airbnb in there, right? So you launch your Airbnb, and as long as, check this out, as long as you offer a better price, and as long as you offer a better product or experience, you're always gonna have 97 to 98% occupancy rate, always. Because I'll give you some comparison. So I have an apartment now. In this one building, I have like 4 Airbnbs, right? And right across the street is a very luxury place, high-end place here in Texas called the Woodlands. I don't know if you're familiar with the Woodlands or not. And we have this hotel called Embassy Suite right across the street from this building, right? High luxury building. 1 bedroom apartment is like $1,500. So right across the street, we have an Embassy Suite. And the average night for Embassy Suite is anywhere from $149 to $300. And the hotels, that's what they're in big trouble, because they offer you the product, the experience. Think about the experience that you get in a hotel for you that travel a lot. It's always 130, 120, 130 square feet, right? You have a TV on the wall, a bed, and a bathroom. That's it. Unless you're a high roller and you stay in a presidential suite and all that. But most of the hotels, that's what you get, right? And sometimes breakfast. Okay. Now, in this case, the Embassy Suite, charge $149 to $300, and you get 120 to 130 square feet place, right? Across the street, I have this luxury building, nice. Has a pool, a spa, a gym, everything that you can get in a hotel. It has a Starbucks coffee machine and on the club room, pool table, nice fire pit, nice. But you can rent a 1-bedroom apartment that's about 750 square feet, right? Which we have more privacy. It's your home away from home. You can do your laundry, things that you cannot do in a hotel, right? Has a Whole Foods right across the street. You can buy your own stuff and cook your own meal. If you travel for a long time, you like to do your own food, because if you eat out every day, it becomes ugly after a while, right? So it's a much better experience, and you can get these for $110 a night, anywhere from $99 to $110 a night. Let me ask you a question. If you are traveling with your family, right, and this one bedroom apartment sleeps 4 people, so one bedroom I always put the bed and a sofa bed, a nice comfortable sofa bed. I usually buy this bed from this sofa from all my kids, the best sofa bed you can possibly imagine. So check this out. It's a spring catalog, page 37 is about $500, right? Don't buy those sofa bed that has that like the spring thing that you felt like. Those are terrible, right? Those are good for the in-laws because they don't want to stay more than 2 or 3 days. So anyway, going back here. So if you're gonna choose where you're gonna travel, what will be your option? Option A, 130 square feet, or option B, 700 square feet in a very nice apartment. And actually, you're gonna save money here, to be honest with you. And you have a much better experience. So Airbnb, and let me tell you a secret. Come back. Pay attention. Let me tell you a secret. Airbnb is like, write this down, okay? This is $1 million secret. Airbnb is not about the bed. Airbnb is not about the sofa. Airbnb is not about the TV, nothing that's in there. What Airbnb it's about, write this word, experience. What type of experience you're gonna provide to your guests? People are going to Airbnbs for experience. So much so that if you go to Airbnb and you look for a place in Malibu, you're gonna see the best listing over there. It's a Airstream camper with nothing inside, no AC, just the bed and a wood deck. You see in the top of the hill. You're gonna have to go pee in an outhouse like 300 yards down the hill, right? But it has this vibe, this view, this feeling that you can't find any place else. And that's the experience. And get this, people pay, check this out, I kid you not, people pay $700 a night to sleep in that camper and pee 300 yards in an outhouse because of the experience. And if you go and look at this listing, this lady makes about $20,000 a month renting a camper on the top of the hill with the outhouse. I kid you not, right? Because that's all about the experience, right? So after you look for the hotels, what are the secondary places that you can put Airbnb? So you're gonna look like people, first thing they come to mind, oh, I gotta go for the tourist spot. Yeah, that's true. But Airbnb is much more than just the tourist spot. So you have business traveler. I have 5 Airbnbs right now that I'm renting long-term. Long-term on Airbnb means 3, 4, 5 months for guys that got kicked out of the house because they're going through a divorce. Who would have thought that we're gonna build an Airbnb business to cater to people that are going through a divorce? So you never know what's the circumstances, but people has a tendency to look for Airbnb. And if you use Airbnb and you had a great experience, most likely next time you travel, you're gonna look for Airbnb first and the hotel became secondary. So much so that Booking.com, Expedia, and all those places, they start open up their platforms so you can also list your Airbnb property, okay? And hotels are putting their rooms on Airbnb because they understand that it's a very profitable and a very interesting platform to advertise to, right? So you have this cross-pollination now of stuff because share economy is the future. You don't want to be out of this thing. Just so you know, like in this place that we are here, we rent this property. It's a 3-bedroom house, has a half-acre lot, and in the back we have this nice building. It's 1,000 square feet building where we have the studio, right? So I have the studio here. That's where I record all my materials, you know, and we pay $1,500 rent. Get this, I make more money in this house than the guy who owns the house. How's that possible, Marcos? It's very simple. So you do the math. If you have a house that's worth $170,000, how much would be the mortgage, right? And then you got to pay taxes, you got to pay insurance, and I guess he's taking home about $400 or $500 cash flow on that transaction, okay, on the $1,500 rent. You guys tell me if my numbers are right or wrong, right? Just with one of the rooms, the master bedroom on Airbnb, we bank about $1,000 a month just in one bedroom, like the master suite. So we have two other bedrooms in there. So basically, we cash flow after we pay the tax, after we pay the rent, we cash flow about $400. So we make $1,900 on Airbnb on the property. However, I still have in the back this nice 1,000 square feet studio that if I was gonna rent this someplace else, it would have cost me another $1,500, right? So I'm actually making more money in this house than the guy who owns it. And then you're gonna ask me, okay, Marcos, I got it. So you think you're smart, you know, you came here from Brazil, you have this nice accent. So why me as a landlord will rent my house to you? Well, there's many reasons. Maybe short-term business is not what you wanna do. That's one of them. Could be that you don't know how Airbnb works. It's such new concept, and I'll tell you this, it came to stay. It may be you're happy with your $500 or $400 cash flow. You know, people are in different business. Maybe you own 20 properties and you want to collect your $400 and that's it, right? That's your passive income. Maybe, I mean, there's many reasons, right? But the reason why, as a landlord, and if you are a landlord, let me ask you this. If you are a landlord, what are the two main concerns you have when you rent a property to someone? Shout it out. I guess number one, correct me if I'm wrong. Number one, you don't know if they're gonna pay you. That's one thing, right? You never know. You're gonna run the background or whatever. It could be that they're not gonna pay you, then you have to evict them. So the number one concern is if they're gonna pay you. Number two concern is if they're gonna trash your place and you're gonna have to do maintenance, and perhaps the maintenance will supersede that amount of cash flow, the amount of money that you're gonna make by renting the property. That's a valid concern, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, imagine as a landlord, I came to you and say, hey, I would love to rent your property. I'm running an Airbnb business, and we're gonna have tons of people coming through your property on a weekly and monthly basis, and you know, we're gonna make more money than you. What would you think? It's like, no, you don't want. I don't want to rent my property to you, simply because in your first thought would be, no, this is gonna have a lot of people coming through my property. They're gonna trash the place, and then this guy's gonna call me every week to fix something, and I don't want to go through this. No, I don't want anything to do with it. That's the first reaction of a lot of landlords. However, remember I told you that once I explain this to you, you want to rent your property to me, and I'm going to be your best tenant ever, and perhaps the only one. As a matter of fact, we built a $2,000 deck in the back of this house, and I took a photo and sent to the landlord, and the guy said, Marcos, you don't expect me to pay you back for this, right? I said, no, that's my gift to you. He's like, what do you mean? It's like, no, you don't have to pay me back. I just upgraded your property to $2,000. He was like, man, you're the best tenant ever. I hope you stay here for 10 years. And I was like, me too. Why? Because I make more money than he is, right? So anyway, and he has all the liability. But that's the game that he chose to play, and that's the game that I chose to play. So why I say that as a landlord, and I'm gonna finish this concept, and then I'm gonna open up to questions. Why as a landlord, you wanna rent your property to me instead of to Joe with Mary and 3 or 4 kids? Simply because when I come to you, I say, look, I run what we call corporate housing program, and I need to cater and I need to provide housing for business travelers that usually gonna stay at your house a couple of days of the week. Because I cater to such higher end clientele, your property has to be in a pristine condition all the time. Otherwise, I will not make any money. And it's in my best interest that your property is always 100%. If something, and because I know how landlord works, and I'm a landlord, sometimes we call, you guys gonna take 2 or 3 days to fix the toilet or whatever, and you wanna be bug about it, I'll guarantee you that any type of damage or anything that goes wrong with your property, up to $1,000, I'll take care of it. And I'm gonna fix it right away, because am I gonna have a different guest coming in, you know, in the next 2 hours. So I can't wait. I need the thing to be done fast, right? So I guarantee you that I'm gonna take care of your property better than Joe and Mary with 4 different kids writing on the walls and having cooking and all this stuff. Because I cater to a business traveler, they usually don't do a lot of heavy cooking. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you guys know this, 55% of Airbnb guests don't ever cook at the property. So the wear and tear in your property is going to be way less and lower than if you rent to somebody else. Because I'm a huge company, I guarantee you that you're going to get paid on time. As a matter of fact, we're going to set you up a direct deposit and so forth, so on. And also, because I am a company, I carry 3 different types of insurance. It's not 4. I got renter's insurance, I got short-term insurance, I got the Airbnb, which is a liability insurance for $1 million, and I also have a $5 million liability insurance for my short-term rental company, right? So you're never gonna get this property better insured than if you rent the property to me. So the question that I want to ask you before I open up to a bunch of Q&A questions and answers is, would you rather rent your property to me, or would you rather rent your property to Joe and Mary? Up to you guys. Cole? Gary?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could see the screen. Paul may have stepped aside, but
Okay.
you know, I following where you're going with this, because I've seen this before. I would definitely. Oh, there's Paul. Go ahead, Paul.
One of the questions, this is from Deborah. She says, do you have any concerns with this in the economy when travel drops? Example, 2009, you still need to cover the rent?
So let me see if I understand this correctly. If I have any concerns when travel drops, and if I can pay any rent, is that what it is?
Correct.
Okay, so basically, well, that's a legitimate concern, right? And I believe when you do it a business, you know, you always have that risk that the revenue is not gonna be there. But if you choose wisely and you apply the Burger King effect and you do the math. So basically, the good thing about this model over here, right, is that, check this out. This is amazing. Check this out. When I research a market before I put my Airbnb on it, the market already gave me all the clues that I need to know if that's a good spot for Airbnb or not. What are the cues, the clues that the market gives? So I know for a fact how much the hotel charges. Okay, I know how much is the nightly rate. I also can look at it on the 3 to 4 mile radius. I can go to the Airbnb.com and see what are the other Airbnbs in the area, right? How many are they? How much they charge per night? And I can even go to their calendar and see how many days they're booked. And I also can analyze, that's genius, what type of product they're offering. What is the experience? Okay? And I do a simple math. How much is gonna cost for me to run this place on a daily basis? So let's say it's at $1,200. It's gonna cost you $40 to run per day. Right? Is that right? Yeah, $40 to run per day. So that's your break-even number. So how hard it would be if you discount it all the way down? In the worst case scenario, you put your place at $40 a night just to cover the expenses. You know how hard it will be for you to get your place booked. And there's many other avenues that you can tack into it. So basically, you can do, in a worst case scenario, you can rent this property long term. You can transfer the lease to somebody else. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. But definitely, once you apply the Burger King effect, you can't go wrong with it.
Marcus, Erica has a question here. It's, hi, Marcus. Most apartment complexes I'm aware of do not allow Airbnb. I'm questioning, have you not run into that problem?
Yes. So very good question. So let me tell you what's going on now. Do you guys remember back in the days when the military has this don't ask, don't tell kind of policy? Apartment complex is the same thing. Right now they're in a position, I don't ask you what you're doing, you don't tell me what you're doing. As long as you don't have any issues, there's nothing, crazy parties going on or whatever, we don't care. Now I'll tell you, they becoming addicted to the revenue. And like I told you, Airbnb came to stay, and now we're going through a transformation phase in the industry where that's a lot of adjustments being made, okay? So there's a lot of apartment complexes open to do what they call master leasing agreement, where there's a lot of corporate housings in a lot of apartment complexes, a different lease that you can have, right? So, but definitely write this down. If you want to launch your Airbnb, my advice to you is this. First of all, you're going to look for townhomes and make sure the association and the local laws, what are the association and the local laws as far as Airbnb, right? The homeowners association. Second of all, you're going to look for houses, right? Third of all, you're going to look for condos and also look the HOA, what they say about it and all that. And third of all, you're going to look for apartments. So apartment is your last resort when it comes to Airbnb. So there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of adjustments. Remember back in the days when Uber came and broke the market, there was a lot of, they start operating, a lot of cities shut them down, and then they were back up running, and now, Uber is all over the place. They make peace with the taxis, drivers, and all that. So the same thing is going on with the Airbnb. So back in the days, not too long ago, the big beef between the Airbnb and local municipalities and government was because of loss of what they call occupational tax. So every time you booked into a hotel, there's a tax that's being charged called occupational tax, and that tax goes to the local government. With the Airbnb, in the beginning, they were not charging that from the guests, so it was a loss of revenue for the government. And government usually don't like when you reach into their pockets, so they would do something about it. They were trying to shut you down. Otherwise, they control the laws, what you're going to say. So it's not too long ago that the Airbnb start to collecting the occupancy tax. So a lot of governments now are playing catch up to comply and to make sure they allow Airbnb. I'll give you an example. We have a lot of Airbnbs in Miami, and Miami right now is operating under a judgment rule, right? So a bunch of homeowners sued the county and said, well, this is our property, we can do whatever we want with it. How dare you tell us if we can have short term or not? So the judge ruled it, and now we can run Airbnbs there, and now the government's catching up in order to write laws and to come into compliances. But you're gonna be surprised, there's a lot of apartment complex that they don't care, right? There's always a risk factor that they might gonna terminate your lease or kick you out or whatever the case may be. And that's why they're your last resort, right? So I hope I have answered that.
Well, first off, Marcus, Beverly M, she just wants to tell you she chimed in several times and saying that this is really awesome. Just want to let you know that. And
Thank
I
you.
have a bunch of people
asking. Okay, I'm sorry, I lost you.
I have a bunch of people that are asking how can they get hold of you directly. So I think I would address that before we're out of time. We only have a few minutes left here.
Okay, so you can send me an email, marcos@americantexting.com, marcos@americantexting.com, and I have another email. It's marcos@lifehackswealth.com, marcos@lifehackswealth.com. I'm also on Facebook, Marcus Jacober, or you can go to my website, marcusjacober.com. I challenge you to go there, marcusjacober.com. Watch the Airbnb challenge that we did. It was one Friday, we were here. I looked at my crew and said, hey, what is, now you guys understand why I have a little bit problem on my dating life, right? I look at my crew at Friday, I say, hey, what if we build an Airbnb in 24 hours? How cool would that be? And they look at me like, are you serious? I say, yeah. And my crew, was me and my friend and a camera guy. That was the only two people that I convinced to do this crazy stunt. And at 10 o'clock in the morning, we signed a lease on a Saturday. We went down to IKEA, we bought all the furniture, and we built the Airbnb. Saturday at midnight, I was at Walmart buying the rest of the stuff. Sunday morning, we started at 7 o'clock. By Sunday, around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the Airbnb was launched, and it was done. We put it live on Airbnb around 7 o'clock at night, Sunday at night. The first reservation came 40 minutes later, and 24 hours later, we made $3,300. It's amazing. You guys should watch that.
Marcus, here's a question. It says, do I understand correctly that you rent out every room on an individual basis? If so, renters usually do not like that. How do you succumb that? Okay,
so that's not what I said at all. So we have different, let's say, profiles of property, right? This property in particular here that I use as an example, we rent individual rooms, right? However, most of the properties that we do, we rent the entire property, right? And there's also some high luxury Airbnbs that we run. It costs, like, the rent costs us about $4,000 a month, but we rent those properties for anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a night. That's a very, like, upscale property, right? With the pool and jacuzzi and all this stuff. Usually it's a couple $1 million home in a lot of markets. So definitely you have different properties, different profiles, and different approach. So your bread and butter should be one bedroom property and studios. And if you don't have access to that, you should go for a 2-bedroom house or a 3-bedroom house. And the bigger the house, it costs a little bit more to stage it, right? Stage is a big factor. Makes like that. Your Airbnb should be, better than your house. Let's put it that way. It has to be like nice and neat. And if you go to the video, you're gonna see some ideas. And but yeah, so each property is different.
Hey Marcus, it's Gary. Hey, if you could on your computer, maybe bring up your Facebook page or your website so people can actually see. I know the spelling is MARCOSJA.
I don't want to touch my computer because I don't want to run the risk to lose you guys. And like I told you, I need a pole in my life to help with the technical stuff. So, but it's
okay.
Let me do
well,
a better.
I'll give them the spelling. It's MARCOS, and Jacober is JACOBER. And I tell you what, guys, I love this subject because I actually stay in Airbnb as a guest from time to time, and I've learned kind of the inside scoop and talked to a lot of owners. And believe it or not, more and more of the owners are investors. I mean, including right here where I am in New Jersey, last week, this week, and next week. It's just an amazing business. And like Marcus said, you don't even have to own the properties. You can do like a master lease and sublet them through Airbnb. It's just an amazing business. So I mean, I appreciate you doing this, Marcus, and it sounds like people were really engaged in asking questions. So I had a feeling this was going to be a good subject, man. In fact, everybody type in, if you'd like to have Marcus come back and redo the tax lien certificate class, just chime in and say yes or yep or something, because Marcus, I'll have you back on next month if you want to talk about the tax lien certificates again,
I would love to do that. And let me tell you this, we can do this live from, we're going to be in Detroit, Michigan. Get this, it's once a year auction. It's one of the biggest auctions in the United States. They're gonna auction about 12,000 properties, and it starts at $300.
Wow.
Yep.
Sounds like the place to be.
Just so you know, they blew up the chat box. They want them back.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Marcus, we love you, man. Everybody loves you, and I appreciate you taking the time to do this again. Feel free to provide any information you can to these guys. I know you come from a service heart, and you got great stuff. And I bet I learned from you too. So I really do appreciate you. And Paul, everybody give Paul a hand for basically billing us out, because he just arrived at his family's camp And I called him. I said, Paul, the internet is out at the hotel. Can you bail us out? I mean, within minutes, we just pulled this thing together, guys. So team effort. And I appreciate you doing this, Paul.
No problem.
Hey, Gary, thank you very much for the invitation.
You're welcome.
Sorry to interrupt you. I guess I did I did better with the time this round, right? And it's always amazing to hear. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to do what I love the most, which is inspire people and share some. I'll say I'm gonna out on a limbo here. I'm gonna say cutting edge strategies, right? Every time I go to a mastermind or a group of real estate investors, when I start talking, they look at me like I have the third eye in my head, like, who is this guy, right? But I like to think things differently. I like to think outside the box. Actually, I like to eliminate the box completely, right? And there's a lot of different approach that you can use if you understand the principles and you try to tweak a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it shows, and we really appreciate it. Hey, Paul, I think all you do is you end the webinar, Paul, and the recording will stop automatically. It might prompt you. Just click on the X on the upper right-hand corner, and it'll prompt you to end webinar and all that, and it's automatic. So for everybody on, God bless you and your families. We will see you next week. By the way, next week's webinar is on the 14th. Same bat time, same bat channel. In the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the week and weekend, and we will see you next week. All right, take it away, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
No problem.